Hey there, it's Eileen Guilbeault with The Real Las Vegas, here with Aundrea Beach-Greco from CMG Financial, and we are bringing you our monthly market update. So I'm sure that Aundrea, as well as myself, have heard nothing but the phrase, is there a shift in the market? So I'll let you start. So what shift are you seeing in the mortgage side?
It seems to have slightly slowed down, and people are kind of out of that FOMO, fear of missing out. What have you seen?
I mean, I still see people that they are afraid of missing out, but not to the tune of $50,000 over what someone is asking for their property. So we are getting more homes on the market, which is great news because buyers actually have a choice in what they want to purchase. Whereas before, there might have been only a few houses on the market and every single buyer was going for that same house. So now with a little bit more variety, we are having a lot more people that are getting the home that they're actually putting an offer in on. The other thing that I am seeing is that sellers, which is so unfortunate, but they are still pricing as if it was 3 months ago. And 3 months ago, it is not the same market today. So you really do have to have a professional who knows what the market is today, not 3 months ago, because it's a totally different dynamic right now, and price that home right. Otherwise, it's going to sit. And that's also what I'm seeing. So we do have more inventory coming on the market. Some of it is overpriced, so it is sitting longer than we typically were seeing before.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I've seen that a lot of the buyers are not having to bid over asking as much, so we don't have to strategize with their mortgage options. Whereas 3 months ago, 4 months ago, we're looking at options of how do we cover that appraisal gap and how are we going to cover that change in what it appraises for, what you offered, and that whole bidding frenzy that was going on. So I've seen that slow down.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the hardest part, so now we transfer from buyers' fear of missing out to sellers' fear of missing out. And you're still gonna get a great price for your home. Prices are still higher than they were even a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago. I mean, they are higher. But you just have to be sure that it's priced correctly so that you actually get to the finish line of selling your home and not just put it on the market and let it sit there.
And we're also working a lot more with sellers with their exit strategy as to where they're going next and how are we going to utilize those proceeds and not maybe using everything for that next purchase, but strategizing of the best situation to meet their needs going forward.
So, of course, everyone always wants to know about interest rates. So what are you seeing as far as the interest rates are concerned?
Well, thank goodness, interest rates are kind of stabilizing. I realize that you might see different things in the media and online, but as far as interest rates go, right now we are in such a great market. They are still at the lowest levels we've seen in history. And just to kind of give you an idea, every situation's different because a home loan is unique like you and I, but the rates are still in the 3s for a 30-year mortgage and then in the 2s for a 15-year mortgage. So, I mean, I don't know about you, we've talked about this in the past. Those are still great rates for borrowing money to purchase a home.
Absolutely. Okay. It was just announced today that the Supreme Court ruled that the CDC overstepped their boundaries and made the rental moratorium extend when they actually didn't have the authority to do so. So what that means is the only way for the federal moratorium to be extended is for Congress to actually get involved and pass a law. which we do not think is going to happen, but fingers crossed, but you never know. So what that means for a lot of the landlords out there, property owners who are renting their properties out, you may see some relief here pretty soon and actually be able to sell your property while removing the tenant. Granted, there is still a lengthy process to go through. So make sure that you know all the laws involved, that you have a true professional on your side to be able to guide you through what that process looks like. But we do expect that we are going to see some tenants that are going to be moving out of homes that have historically been rental properties, and we will see those coming on the market for sale.
And do you see or foresee that that's going to add to our inventory levels and affect houses going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to see some more. I mean, I'm currently working with an owner right now who it's been quite a lengthy process, but you know, the tenant just unfortunately had to be removed from the property. Just non-responsive, not paying the rent, not responding to notices that were given to her that she would have to vacate. If you are in that situation, please contact your landlord, contact your property owner. There is help available for you to be able to get a new rental, get out of one, you know, rental into another. And yes, it is a very tight market, but there are still options available to you. So don't give up. It is not hopeless. There is help to be had. On that topic, I have a question for you, because what we're seeing is that rentals are almost, if not more difficult to get into than actually buying a home. So we have people who are looking for rentals. They still may pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to get into a property to rent it for a year. And they really would love to buy.
Right.
Is there a pathway for them to be able to do that?
Yeah, so we would, talking with your example, we would take that client through the normal process of getting them pre-approved and consult them on their buying power, because we think it's important. For instance, if you use an example for a first-time home buyer and they're coming in with their 3 to 3.5% down, that's almost equivalent to the amount of money you're talking about.
Right.
So why would someone use their money to go plop it down to rent a place when they can invest in themselves and their future and be a homeowner? So
yeah.
With that said, we are working with clients like that to educate them on buying rather than renting, because of course, as you and I both agree, being homeowners is much better than renting.
Right.
And with the market out there and the cost of rents rising, it's
yes.
super important that people can see their options and they're given their options with all of the things going on. And yes, we're doing that with every client that's put our way, and to help them foresee their future to be a homeowner.
Yeah, and the good news also with our rising inventory is that in our office, at least, we are seeing some buyers are getting closing cost assistance from the sellers, which for probably the last year has been non-existent.
Yeah.
You could not get them to offer you anything. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, one of ours just got $5,000
nice.
In closing cost assistance. So it is really changing. There are some sellers who are willing to, you know, put in that extra money to get a buyer into a home. So it is possible to do. So just keep that in mind. Aundrea can get you pre-qualified, and if you do not qualify at the moment, she can give you step-by-step of how to, in the next 3 months, 6 months, year, how to make that a possibility for you and your family to be able to purchase down the road.
Yeah. And I think it's important too for those clients that are watching this to know that there is still down payment assistance available, because you know, that is one of the biggest hurdles for first-time buyers is that down payment.
Right.
So if in this market, if the sellers are contributing and you have down payment assistance, that's a win-win, and that can help alleviate some of the burden of all of those closing costs and down payment requirements.
Absolutely. Another update that we have is new home sales. So I don't know if you've seen a change in this at all, but I keep in close contact with a lot of the sales agents at communities that I, bring clients to that are purchasing new homes. And it's getting a little rough for some of these new home sales agents. And the reason is because as all of the sellers for traditional properties really took advantage of this market and they got top dollar for their home, the builders did the same thing.
Yes.
I mean, we live in a society where if you can charge more and people will pay more, that's exactly what you do.
Right.
And so now that lot premiums have been, quite high, and every time an email goes out that says we have these lots available, my contacts are saying they're getting like nasty gram email replies back saying, how dare you, you're robbing us, I mean, and it's getting a little bit heated.
Yes.
So the solution that they have come up with in some of these communities is because they are also seeing sales slowing.
Right.
They're seeing that prices are coming not down, but they're being, leveled off to where people aren't getting over what the market can bear. And so what they're doing is they're adjusting their methods. So they said to me, and again, this is not all builders, but some of the builders that I have spoken with, they are actually lowering their lot premiums first. So I said, okay, so if lot premiums lower and you're still not driving that activity to convert them into sales, then what is next? So the response was very interesting, and it was, well, then we offer incentives. So they offer incentives to the buyers to still consider purchasing new.
Like design center, closing costs.
Yeah,
things
design
like that.
center, closing costs, which most builders have not been offering in the
right.
last year.
They didn't need to.
And lot premiums have gone, I mean, even when I see them, and I do this every single day, I'm like, there's no way they're getting that number for that lot. But we also have to remember that because Las Vegas, even though us locals are seeing our costs raising, if you're moving in from another urban area like California, if you're moving from DC, if you are moving from Chicago, if you're moving from another highly populated area where prices are way higher than ours, and their property taxes are through the roof, they still consider Las Vegas a bargain.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of why you're seeing prices that are still higher than we would normally see, but it is going to level off here pretty quick.
The lists and edge phase, the people are being bumped off and all of those types of...
No. No, that is a big change that's happening right now, because I get emails weekly from the sales agents that are on site, and some of these emails are coming back with the same lots 2 and 3 weeks in a row.
Gotcha.
So it really is, if you're looking at new, and listen, you don't have to build that house like the model home.
Right.
You don't have to. Would you love to? I mean, I would,
Yeah.
but I look at strategically what is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck in adding those features in, and then everything else you can do after the fact.
Yeah.
So are you seeing a change in who is coming in to get a loan to buy a home?
Actually, recently we've seen quite a few investors. I think that the price is stabilizing, is that the right word, or
Yeah.
a good word to use?
Yeah.
Has created that interest again, because the fear of missing out, they didn't want to be bothered with that. So the investors that had experience and were purchased in the previous markets, they're actually coming back in and buying because they realize interest rates are so low that they're always going to see a return on their investment.
Absolutely.
So again, I know there's a lot of information out there, but rental rates, interest rates for investors are still really low, and there's great opportunity out there. And so, we've seen an influx of those types of applicants recently.
Yeah, I mean, and because rental rates are climbing up, it makes sense that you would see more investor clients.
Yeah. And as far as that, interest rates have been steady, stable, and we haven't seen much other changes other than that.
Thank you so much for joining us today at Vintner Grill for our monthly market update. And if you have questions for either myself or Aundrea, reach out to us. We would love to help you to make a plan, set that plan in motion to grow your wealth, get the home of your dreams, and really plan for your future.